Hello and welcome to the first Aura Fury Episode 1 podcast. We're excited to be here with you and go over lots of cool things that have been going on in Aura Fury, and hopefully this will actually become something a bit more regular. At first, it's probably going to be closer to something like bi-weekly, but as things get rolling and we figure these things out, we'll get up to being something that's more weekly. And this podcast is going to have lots of guests from the community, and it's going to change with each episode. You're going to be seeing some new faces here. Sometimes some of the faces that you see right here, right now, won't be here. So it'll be lots of cool topics and different things to talk about. I am Econ Brony, also known as Jacob, or vice versa, probably. I am the founder of Aura Fury, so I kind of oversee just about everything that's going on in the community. And I am here with three other lovely people. We'll start with Chikohai, or Justin, right next to me.
Hey guys, so as previously mentioned, I'm Jukohai or Justin. You might know me from around the community from my Overwatch team Kairos that joined earlier in the fall. Aside from that, my role has really been to try to get a couple new things started up for the community members regarding Overwatch teams, regarding potential Overwatch leagues, and then a couple other goodies that we're going to mention later. But for now, I'll pass it off to my friend Plexus down south.
Hi, I'm Alex or Plexus. I do Linux admin stuff and support the community in the back end. And I will pass it off to Aledark.
Hey guys, it's Aledark from the VS Vintage Story server. Basically welcome new apps and help beacon out with the admin and shenanigans of doing events on the Vintage Story server. So I've been active member since September 2020. Took a little break, but came back strong in June and been helping out econs pretty much since then.
And I certainly appreciate all the help I get. So we had a Christmas drawing that just happened in the community. The winners were announced just recently. Our first prize that was drawn was actually this beautiful Yeti water bottle. It's actually a limited edition color, and it's got both of our logos on it. It's got the Aura Fury logo. It's all etched in there. And then it's hard to see in here, but it's the actual Voodoo Magic logo, where People Matter logo, on the back of it. Meta Chaos was actually our drawing winner for this lovely prize. And this baby's dishwasher safe, by the way. That's what makes Yeti special compared to a lot of the other brands. And then we had Andy Dize. I may have pronounced that wrong, but it's definitely Andy. He's actually from Europe and is a content creator. He hasn't been on a lot of our servers, but he has been involved in the Discord, and as well as a lot of different discussions. A pretty awesome person. He managed to win our Aura Fury mug here. Again, it's got both the logos on it, front and back. So congratulations to both of them on winning the drawings. And if you're looking to get some cool Yeti Aura Fury merchandise in the future, just stay tuned. We've got more contests and giveaways coming. We have a brand new mug design, for instance, like this one right here that Yeti recently released. We've managed to get some of those as well. And then we have can coolers like this one here that come in a few different colors. Pink, blue, and red are the different colors that we have had. In fact, Ash, who won one of the chiseled painting contest prizes, actually got one of the can coolers, but in that same blue that the water bottle is in. So lots of cool things coming. Obviously, there's been gift cards and other things to get a chance at winning as well. So next up, we're going to be jumping into some of the poll results that have been going on in the community, and I'm going to hand it over to Justin to take that over to start.
All right, so as many of you should know, we held polls at the end of November asking you all various questions, but specifically the ones I'm going to go over correspond to the first poll question, which was if you were all interested in playing a few games, namely board games, which got a lot of reception, 36 votes from the community, but I'm sure, everything comes with, you see a vote, you vote for it, but some people may have not had time to interact with it. It did go on for a while, but people are busy around this time of year. So I'm assuming that we'd probably get a good turnout for board games if we got a board game night going, and especially with the votes to back that up, it seems like you all are really interested in getting into that. And of course, we cater to as many people as we can with these kind of board games. So it's really going to be up to you as the community members to decide what games interest you the most. Of course, there's like options like Steam that provide tabletop simulator at a relatively low price. I mean, it's the holiday season. I think there's a sale going on now. I highly recommend it if you have time to pick it up. But once you do that, you can go into the game and you can download any game that exists for free. And we can get a lobby of that loaded up with everybody who's interested in it. We can get a game going of, again, pretty much anything. If you guys are interested in like fun board games, like Catan is like a popular one where you can get a lot of people going. We could even do more casual games like Clue. And then we can go as far deep, into the realm of board games as we want. We even potentially have a vintage story game in the works that could be coming down the pipeline far off into the future, but it's still something to keep an eye out for. I know a lot of people in the server came here for vintage story, and if they're all about that type of content, a game like that could really scratch that itch. Maybe that's outside of the game as well. Aside from that, you guys had the option to vote for two other polls, one regarding card games. So, two of the most popular card games right now being Pokemon and Magic were the focus of the poll. Obviously, we can play whatever else you want. I myself, as for my job outside of Aura Fury, is at a card game shop. So I'm pretty well versed in organizing and moderating games within those, and those both work on Tabletop Simulator and various other like websites and sources. We can get a game of Pokemon going or Magic, but Yu-Gi-Oh obviously works as well. I know Cardfight Vanguard's been getting very popular. Weiss Schwartz is an anime-based game made by Bushiroad that's becoming really popular here in the States with a lot more card support. If we want a lot of people are, especially on like Discord communities, are interested in anime. If that ends up becoming something you guys want to play, we can teach the community how to play that are willing to learn and get games like that going. And maybe even further down the road, it can get a little bit more competitive and get tournaments going with, varying amount of people. So it all comes back to you all and your interest level. If it's just, a couple people want to get a game going and you need a moderator, you can call on someone like me. Or if we want to push that boundary as far as we can with competitive play, we can obviously talk about that and have an open discussion as a group. And the same ideology goes into Super Smash Bros. So the poll was purposefully vague. It was just Super Smash Bros. as a title. Obviously, there's many games within that series. I think the two most popular that we're going to be focusing on are end up being Melee and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, all you're going to need is your Nintendo Switch Ultimate, as well as a online accessible profile, which you do have to pay for, but it's relatively cheap. And most people that are interested in it probably already have it. Through that, we can host it through the Discord, get regular times going, potentially use a website that can keep track of tournament brackets and get that going for you all at a semi-regular basis. If not bi-weekly, then maybe just once a month in the beginning. And the same idea goes for Melee. It's a little bit easier because you can download it for free. We potentially get a chat channel going where we can give you all the tools you need to download the software you need without having to go to a website you don't trust, because it'll be vetted by someone like myself. And then links to the things that aren't free software, such as like GameCube controllers that we trust, as well as adapters that we recommend people to use. And the game is evolving every day, and you can use alternates to GameCube controllers as well, like your keyboard and mouse, Xbox, PlayStation controllers, controllers that you have for other systems, maybe at home, that can be mapped to the game. It's very easy, very accessible, and I'm very interested in getting those types of games going for you all in some fashion, whether it be just regular nights where we all fool around and play a couple games in a group, or take it over to a more tournament environment where I have a lot of experience and can help push the community forward. But that's really the synopsis of the first poll question. Do you have any questions about your involvement with that poll, as well as potential within those games that maybe I didn't mention? Of course, feel free to DM me. I'm in the server under Jukohai and parentheses Justin. Just I respond to either, and I'm open pretty much 24/7. Obviously, I sleep, but I'll wake up and I'll see your message, and I should be able to respond to you. But
And
aside from that, there's a lot of other games that we want to be doing further down the line based on the polls as well. And I'll hand that over to Plexus to maybe get a better idea of what games we might be hosting.
Sure, yeah. So we ran a poll on getting some game nights going. Game nights are something that can be pretty popular when they get going, but we've had some trouble getting it into a consistent pattern. And any questions you have on these results and upcoming game nights, you should direct towards Wiggles, because I believe Wiggles is handling that side of things currently. So it looks like there's a lot of interest in playing Dead by Daylight, which has come a long ways since its original development and releases. A lot of interest in Golfing with Friends and Uno and Scribble. And then some interest in Gartic Phone, and I think that everything else drops fairly low after that. But yeah, it'll be fun to get some of these going regularly and play some large variety of games to build up this community.
Uno's one of those games that it would have never even come to mind for me to go, oh yeah, that's a good game to be playing with everyone, but it really is. It'll be some fun and see the interactions, and hopefully we'll get a few of our content creators in on that so we can see some of the recordings and stuff of those games. It's going to be kind of fun to watch. And that was
Yeah.
actually one of Wiggle's suggestions, was to
Mhm.
bring Uno in, so really good suggestion there. Dead by Daylight was actually suggested more than once. Once over by Justin earlier on, and it was actually suggested by Turtle Girl even before that as well. So it'd been kind of a game that's been in there in the considerations, but because we didn't have somebody in charge of kind of running the game night events yet, it was kind of hard to get all that together. But now we got somebody that's in charge of organizing that, and they're getting things together for that now. Already
Yeah, and
we've started to see some of the stuff come about. Like we just played Rise of Nations recently as one of our game nights, and that was another successful event, a lot of fun. Did you have
yeah.
something?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say we don't really have an asymmetric game in the community that I know of right now. So if we can get Dead by Daylight running, that might be a new sort of branch that the community can reach out into and expand into.
I also wanted to mention something about that. That and Gartic Phone. So to put a small pin in Gartic Phone. As you mentioned, Econ, I was one of the people to push Dead by Daylight, and this is maybe coming as a shock to some of you, but I actually, even though suggested it, I don't really play the game, and a big reason for that is like nothing wrong with the community. The community is really nice. The streamer community is even nicer. It's probably one of the most positive communities ever. But there's something about those more like hide and seek level games or an asymmetric games, as you were saying, that's like it becomes more immersive and more interesting, in my opinion, when everyone on your team, or the one killer in this case for Dead by Daylight, is someone you know. And I think it provides a pretty interesting and fun environment, and it can keep it pretty lighthearted. I know a lot of people take the game very seriously and are competitive at the game, and I expect and hope those people do show up to the game nights where we are having Dead by Daylight. But at the same time, I want to test my skills against my friends in that game and pull off more funny plays where I'm not worried about like, oh, did I let my team down? Because what I'm
Yeah.
mainly going to be doing in that setting is trying to be, have fun, pull off silly plays, and potentially like harass the killer with a group of people as well, and just run around them and have a good time.
Mhm.
And with Gartic Phone, I know we've talked about this before between three of us, but I actually didn't know what it was, and I've talked about it with a couple people since, and they also didn't know what it was. So, if you want to give the community quite a little bit more of a brief synopsis of what Gartic Phone is and what games potentially that they might already know that they uh, can relate it to.
I actually have no idea what Gartic Phone is.
Yeah, that makes me too. I have not looked the game up yet myself.
From what okay, so to not completely fall flat, I'll take the reins, I guess. So from what I understand about being told what Gartic
Nice,
Phone is,
nice trick questions, Justin. You got them, both of them. I don't
Yep,
know
we
what
would
it
have
is either, but I can blame the fact that I'm not English. So
there it is. So I think from what I remember, it's like telephone. You know, like the
Mhm.
popular game where you just, you say a word into someone's ear and then you pass
Yeah.
it on and you go around a circle and see what it ends up as at the end. But I'm pretty sure Gartic Phone combines that idea with like telestrations, where you have to you have to draw it out. And I think those type of games, similar to Scribble, where it's a lot of like user error or user input rather, is what ends up deciding how fun or not fun the game is. And I think like you get a big enough group of the people in the community, and everybody in the community is obviously has a great sense of humor, is very funny and very interactive with each other. You get a bunch of people like that into a game of Gartic Phone. I think you'll be well off to have a fun time. And from what I understand as well, it's browser based, like Scribble. So you won't it's not behind a paywall like potentially Golf with Your Friends and Dead by Daylight are. Not potentially, they literally are, but at the same time, I mean, it could be gifted to you or something like that. Or Golf with Friends, I think it's like goes on extremely low fire sales every once in a while. Unlike Dead by Daylight, who kind of tries to stay more towards its sticker prices, is a really popular game. But yeah, sorry to set everyone up for failure. I'll take the L on that. That was my bad.
I did ask Google really quick, and it compared it to Pictionary as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good
yeah.
one.
Mm.
My face turned more pink than normal, and that wasn't because I was embarrassed. It was because I had it up on my monitor just to make sure I wasn't staring at anybody wrong. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
what
You
exactly?
probably
was
saw
Gartic Phone?
that on my side of my face as well.
There it is.
Immediately all down to Google. Hey, but at
Yep.
least viewers, now you know we won't lead you astray. We're willing to say we don't know on screen.
And we won't know most things. We're
Yeah,
here to
it
tell.
turns out-
Most of this podcast will end up being us telling you things we don't know, and you as the intelligent hive mind that you will end up being, will steer us in the right direction, or
Yeah.
Google will, or some combination.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the comment section on that. Little thing.
Time stamped for sure.
Mhm.
Definitely.
But Gartic Phone was another one of Wiggle's ideas, and
Yeah.
he had said to go ahead and put that into the polls. So I put it in there to see what folks thought, and we got good feedback on it. So we'll definitely be giving it a try. I'm sure I'll be in there. Just like for Dead by Daylight, I will definitely be joining in on those games, because I'm looking forward to them. Lots of fun, especially
Yeah.
since Phasmophobia has been so popular in the community. So having kind of that creepy vibe in the background adds just a little bit more to the ambiance, and a lot more fun for the streamers to give their content because they scream when the murderer comes and finds them.
Before we transition away from game night games and go more into the Minecraft and vintage story side of the polls, I did want to leave room open for Aledark, Plexus, or Econ, any of you, to talk about the polls questions that I mentioned earlier. I realized I kind of rushed through them because I had a lot of info I just wanted to dump out there but I completely forgot to open it up to questions if you guys wanted to ask me anything in front of everybody. If you guys want to put your own 2 cents in, want to list your potential mains or favorite decks in the games that I mentioned, put kind of a price on your head a little bit. But I didn't know if you guys were interested in that at all. If not, we can get right into the true meat and potatoes of this, which is the vintage story stuff.
So for Smash Bros, I know we were talking about a tournament. Don't be intimidated by the tournament, even if you're brand new to it. My days of Smash Bros go back to Nintendo 64, so that's dating me a little bit. But I didn't play a ton of Melee, but Melee was a lot of fun. The main thing was I just didn't have a GameCube back in the day when that was around. But now that it's available on the computer, I'm looking forward to be able to get back into it. And so is my wife, Rom Girl, so she will be joining in. So this would be a great time to get in and join in Melee, or even if we get into Smash Bros. Ultimate, because I'm sure we'll end up doing a bit of both at some point. It's a great time to join in, have some fun, get in there with people that are relatively new, so you have similar skill levels. So nothing to be afraid of going in there. So we're going to be a lot of us are going to be in the exact same boat with you if you are brand new to it. But there'll be some people with some experience in there as well. So you have both sides of the coin there. So if you're looking for a bit of a challenge coming in, I'm sure Justin can provide that for you, along with some of his friends that'll be coming in. I think Gabe's looking at coming in and playing some Smash Bros with us, right?
He's really good. Yeah, for anyone who's familiar with Melee, he's very much the Marth player that you guys see on like clips. Very much wave dash back forward smash. And that's no fault of him either, because he plays Fox too, and he plays entirely different on that character. Just a skilled player, to be honest. But like Econ was saying, it's the community tournaments are going to grow at the level and pace that you guys are putting into it. So if majority of the people getting in on the ground floor of this are new, unexperienced players willing to pick up a new game and want to be good, and like practice at it, what the consistency that we're providing for you, you're going to grow with the people that you're playing with. And if people start to go above you, one or two things are going to happen. One, you're going to be like, maybe I want to pick this more casually. We can have nights that are just more casual and you just play like one-on-ones or group fights and stuff like that. Or it'll incentivize you to put in the same amount of or match the effort of your peers that started with you, and that's going to breed the level of competition that you guys want out of this, which can go as high as we potentially want it. As well as as I say that, people that don't get in on the ground floor, as long as this keeps expanding, and this goes for Smash or card games or anything that has a potential to have like a tournament environment, um, don't be afraid to hop in, because the more people that are willing to come in, be kind of like the lower end of the table for a couple days or a couple weeks maybe, you're gonna breed the new generation of people wanting to hop in. They see, oh, that player's new, oh, they did something cool, because we're gonna be able to like record a lot of this stuff and be like, oh, okay, if they're able to hop in their first week and do that interaction, cool. Maybe they didn't win the game or even the set, but they did something neat, and they're like, okay, this is like tangible progress for a new player. Then you're attracting more people to play that are at your level when you do something like that as a new player. And then the community grows and grows and grows and grows. So I incentivize everyone who has ever thought about the game and that as potentially interesting, or maybe gave it up for a period of time and are looking for a way to get back in at like a lower level than maybe they were playing at before, or what they see in their local area. This is a very good opportunity to do so. And it gives you some time to really to use wisely and to invest yourself into something, because there's so many crazy things going on out in the world right now, and it's nice to come home and just have like a more cathartic experience of just getting good at a fighting game that really only you interact with, and getting better, unlike maybe like Overwatch or like a team-based game where there's so many variables. This is just raw. If I do this to get better, I have more fun. And I think there's something to be said about that. And I really like games like that. And I think card games and Smash are both kind of like satisfy those needs for me. And board games to an extent too, because you can get really good at some board games and just run over people and just have a laugh, or just get really good at running a board game and making sure that the outcome of the games and the people you're playing with are to your liking, and it's a lot of fun and memorable. So don't best advice came from me, guys. Just don't be afraid to put yourself out there and hop into one of these sessions just completely with no experience, because we'll welcome you with open arms, and the reception will be warm, and we'll make sure you're good, or at least you leave with more knowledge and confidence than what you came in with.
So on the card games, I know a lot of people who've played like Pokemon or Magic cards, or have thought about getting into it in the past. Maybe the kind of the expense part of it was kind of like a big brick wall for you when you tried to get into it. A lot of times, how good your deck is was limited by how much your funds and stuff were. That's where doing this online comes in. We'll be able to actually build our decks digitally, so you don't have to worry about that. that costs, other than of course you have to buy the original game, which isn't that expensive right now. But what's the name of that thing again, Justin? Tabletop
Simulator.
Simulator. Yes, there it is. So if you get that, not only is it going to have a whole bunch of board games and things on it, it's also going to have the card games in there and allowed us to build decks and do all sorts of different things with it that way. I'm
And
not
I'll be
sure.
building decks for that as well. So if, like you said, there's a paywall to get invested in like paper Magic online and also in real life, a barrier to entry is I don't know how to build a deck yet. I haven't gotten that far invested in the game to know what a good deck looks like. I have pre-constructed decks online that it takes 3 seconds in game to download and you just get to run it and play. And there are varying expertise levels. So I have like lower end ones that can still output pretty high because they're easy to get into because the cards just tell you exactly what they're due. The theme and like the win conditions are very easy to interpret after giving the deck a quick peruse. And then I have varying, like I said, levels. So I have all the way up to the highest, like very much competitive Magic level decks that people can borrow and just download and do whatever they want with. And then maybe use that as a jumping off point of like, okay, I liked this deck idea, but man, these 10, 15 cards made no sense to me. And you go in, you download my deck onto a website, and then you take out what you want and put in what you prefer, and you can jump off pretty well from there. I highly recommend if you're getting into the game using pre-constructed decks and then finding your rhythm that way.
So
Yeah. And the
Go ahead,
online
Texas.
format will let us do what was the thing where you buy a bunch of packs of decks and then you pass them around and try to build a deck called?
So yeah, that format is called drafting. So it's
Right,
every time a
yes.
new set comes out in real life, a lot of
Mhm.
people like to buy a display box or a booster box rather of that
Yeah,
set
yeah.
and then pass those cards around to the table and everybody builds decks that way. It's a little bit more intricate than that, but we don't have to go all the way into it. But if this sounds like something you're interested in, I think we plan on doing those. Like I said at the start of a new set, I think that's the
Mhm.
best way to get integrated with the new cards and potentially new formats is to, as sets come out, you play with the new cards, understand their interactions, and then like, oh man, this card feels great. I want to throw this into my modern deck, or I want to throw this into my commander deck and see how it plays. And then maybe it makes your deck better, maybe it makes your deck worse, and it just gives you an option at least. And
Yeah.
then there's also chaos drafts, which are like, oh,
Mhm.
I started playing Magic a year ago, and so I only have had access to like these 9 sets. But I have been told about this awesome set from back in 2002 or 2010, and I never got to play that. So I'm going to bring those packs to the table. And then everyone else has their idea of like, oh, well, I didn't play during this time period. I want to bring these packs to the table. Or they said, oh, I haven't played with that pack in a long time. I want to bring those to the table. And then you just have these hodgepodge of cards and it could be a lot of fun. I think drafting from a like community standpoint will be a lot of fun and will kind of even the playing field for a lot of people. And we'll try to get as many of those games going as possible. But I think we'll time them one around every beginning of a new set, which comes out every 3 months. And then we'll maybe do like a mid-set draft as well. So every month and a half, we'll have either the new set, a chaos draft, or maybe a themed one that we want to do based around a year, and then back to the new set and so on and so forth.
So on the board games, if there's any kind of board game that you want to play, or card games as well, because we're not limited to just Magic and Pokemon cards, for instance. It's anything that you basically want to do. We have a tabletop section down in Discord. That's where you're going to want to start expressing your interests. We're going to obviously you can get the tabletop roll up in the Passport channel, so you'll definitely want to grab that. And then you'll be able to kind of ping down there and say, hey, I'm looking to play this game. You can also message either Justin or myself, and we can help you get started on getting that together. And it could be, Monopoly, or it could be something like a Talisman or Arkham Horror or any of those games. I know Talisman is one that was actually suggested to me a while back. That there were some individuals looking to get together and play that kind of a game. And I like to personally, I like to call those like an epic length game because they can go hours and hours and hours and hours. But generally, a dedicated group of players can get it done in a night. But if you should decide you wanted to do something that's a lot longer, getting closer to like the length of like D&D campaigns, things like that, don't be afraid to talk to us and talk about getting your own channel set up for it. If you look down in the D&D right now, there's 2 campaigns. that are running, and they have their own special channels that only they have access to. So you could have something like that put together for tabletop as well. So there's basically it's unlimited what you can do with it. So there's so many different things that we can kind of go forward with this. I'm sure we'll be doing some more polls as time goes forward, excuse me, to find more information about what you guys are looking to do. And hopefully I get to hear from, well, Justin and I both get to hear more from you on which of these games that you're interested in running. I'm sure that you'll be grabbing us as well to come in and join on there. I know if Talisman game gets going or Arkham Horror, I'll be down there in a flash. If you want to be taught how to play Monopoly, I have a very unique way. It comes from being an economist, so.
That's something I want to mention. This could not even just be on the podcast. We want to edit this out. I want to play oh my gosh, it's an economy based game. It's like super popular. Splendor, that's what it's called. I want to play that with you as an economist yourself. I want to see how badly after a few sessions of that game you could whoop my butt in it.
It took me a
You'll have
little bit to learn it because I haven't heard of the game, but economy-based game sounds like fun to me. So
I've only played like 3 or 4 times, but I love it. I ended up buying it for one of my roommates for the holidays, and I want to get good at it. It's really fun. So I'll have to pull us all in. Whoever else wants to play, we can get in on that.
Awesome.
I'm curious what your Monopoly strategy is then.
Do you want to hear this story? Does everyone want us to hear a Monopoly story?
Well, because most of the Monopoly stories I hear of are it's a great way to lose friends and make enemies.
Very table flip type game.
So I was playing with some family, and there's a rule in Monopolies that says that when a player goes bankrupt to you, you have to pay their debts off. And what I did was I actually didn't have any property. I was getting terrible luck. But I was just cruising around the board. But I kept on landing on people's rent and stuff. But I had so much cash. What I did is I started lending to everyone, so that they accumulated a bunch of debt with me. And then the first person to go bankrupt happened to be the person that owed me like $2,500, and it caused the person they went bankrupt to go bankrupt too. So they both bankrupted to me. And I got all their property, and then I ended up turning around and winning because of that.
It is.
Yeah, that's
the Shylock of the family.
So the strategy to win is to be the bank.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth in many things?
I'd say that's not even. You don't even have to say that's about games.
But yeah, that's a story that's been told in my family for quite a while now since that happened. It'll probably never happen again, but it's still pretty funny.
Nice.
All right. Was there anything else anyone want to add on cards or board games?
All good on my end.
That's good.
All
Look
right.
forward to playing with the community.
Yeah, that will be fun. So I guess we will be passing it to Aledark to tell us about the poll results on the VS mods.
Yeah, so we did the poll. I think Justin earlier said it was around November. Basically, we put 2 mods up there, and 2 of them got such a high voting that they were both considered to be added pretty soon, but just after 1.16 hits, which is pretty soon, so we can test progressively and then add them up after the content is stable. But the first mod is the instrument mods, which allows you to have access to like 13 different instruments, and you can change a bunch of like play all the notes that you can on regular instruments. You can even make it play ABC files or like a band system, or upload like, I don't know, if you really like a song from another game and you want to import it in Vintage Story and go on a guitar spree and make it rhyme, some AC/DC or some stuff like that. I guess that'd be doable with a little bit of tweaking. I can see that there's like very classical um classical songs that are included, and it was a community, a lot of people were looking for it, so I think that just add a bit of fun. It doesn't have any efficiency or new type of blocks besides the instruments themselves, but I guess that it might be a little fun with the folks you're playing to pull out the instruments every now and then. And the other thing was specialized bags, which has 3 new multi-slot bags. One is the agriculture bag, so seeds, all type of food, and tools such as hose or sites or soil, compost, fertilizer, and everything. You can get up to 10 slots, and the normal leather bag is 6, and then the same type of deal with the forestry bags, 10 slots again. I think forestry speaks for itself, what it can go in there. And the builder bag is basically logs, bricks, paths, ladders, shingle, planks, glass, and more that can go in there. So these will be added soon as 1.16 is stable and everything works with other things we're doing also that we'll talk about in one subject just after announcing the next topic that Econ's going to talk about.
So the instruments mod really kind of took me by surprise when we got all the votes. It showed up in the suggestions channel a couple of different times, and I remember seeing that. It's like, oh, that's interesting, because the instruments show up in other games too. In Starbound, some mods and stuff have added it, and then we started Stardew Valley. The game itself has some instruments. I'm just starting to see like stuff on YouTube popping up where people have actually made like full songs within Stardew Valley. So now that we have the instrument mods coming into our server, I guess it's time for an Aura Fury band or orchestra to be showing up on the server. Maybe we can have Alex lead it for us. Are you musically inclined?
I play drums.
There we go. We're halfway there. That's awesome.
So I can keep the beat, the rhythm for it.
There's a drum kit. So
there we go.
So with the instruments, do they have to be player played? Or can you set any of them to run by themselves?
From what I can tell, depends on the config, but it feels like you can have a lot of freedom with it. On repeat, you can do stuff like setting different pitches, or being synchronized or not. The server itself can hold some, they call it ABC files. I'm not super good in music, but I guess it's like the basic type of notes that you would play with the silence time and everything, that you can just load up in your instrument, and then you're playing so and so song. So so I guess you can create or play or compose, and I believe it's definitely a lot more complex and interesting than it was when I first saw the mod came out. So definitely interesting.
Cool. Yeah, I'm hoping that somebody takes it upon themselves to pursue a career as a musician and play live music for people in Vintage Story in exchange for like shingles or something.
Oh yeah.
I might become a musician myself if I can get paid in shingles. I still think that would be one of the most in-demand products on the server. If somebody started a business selling shingles, they'd be wealthy very quickly.
Probably, yeah.
So the bags mod was definitely one that we've been looking at for some time now, and glad to see that it's going to be popular and come in. It actually kind of follows along with the game balance still, which for those of you who've been in Aura Fury for a while now with Vintage Story, you notice we're really slow and we're really picky about the mods that we bring in, and it is super important to us that they actually fit in with game balance in there. And then there's another factor to it too that we'll be getting into in the subject after the next one. Is there anything else anyone wanted to hit on those two mods before we move down to the servers? All right, so we have brand new Minecraft servers that have come about. So the poll results were very positive for vanilla server coming in new with the 1.18.1 caves update. So that server is up and running now. The old vanilla server came down. We did talk with everybody that was left on the server. It was just a couple of people at the time, and made sure that they would be looking to move over too. And they did. They ended up saying, yeah, we're kind of done. We're ready for the new world. So we moved it over and made the old vanilla world up there for download. So if you want to download that world, it's available down in the vanilla Minecraft Discord channel right now here in the Aura Fury Discord. The vanilla server is off to a pretty good start. I know there was over, what was that? I think it was over 20 votes we got for it. So it got a ton of excitement going for it. And there's been at least 15 different people on the server already, and I'm expecting that to continue to grow as we go. Many of you may have been caught by surprise by a Greg Tech New Horizons server that felt like it came out of nowhere, because it kind of
A
did.
little
It's just like, surprise, here it is. Merry Christmas.
Mhm.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Go be miserable on Greg Tech.
You want to meet your family? No. Over to New Horizons you go.
Yeah, over here, you know you need more Greg Tech. Like Greg Tech New Horizons makes my pack Fear the Night look like a kitten, and that's the lion. So, and many people that you talk to about Fear the Night will also tell you that it's one of the hardest packs they've ever played. Well, Greg Tech New Horizons it's up there. And we have some sadistic players that hate themselves that came to me and said, would you please run this server? And they offered to kind of support us on it. And it was a group of players that have been with us for quite some time. So I knew they were going to be super active on the server and constantly be there. So we pinged to see if there was any interest beyond that. We found out there was some interest too in that short amount of period. And we've already had just as many players on that server as we had on the vanilla server, which is pretty surprising. And I expect that one to go for quite a while, because it's just one of those packs that you get addicted to, and it just keeps you there forever to keep it going. I plan on jumping on it after I kind of get done with the Ark server and helping Romgo get all set up on there. So that's the next one right in line. We have a new Ark server too. So there you go. 1, 2, 3, three new servers for you to go spend your entire Christmas holiday break and come over and play on Aura Fury on top of everything else that you already do here. The Ark server has also been pretty popular. We've had around 10 different people on there, and there's actually a few more that I'm still expecting to show up on there. We're running the brand new map, Lost Island, and I don't know how this happened, but this is I swear it's the first time Wildcard released something without a delay. and on top of that, it actually runs pretty decent, besides all the spots where you get stuck, which was my entire first day on the map.
Yeah, you got your foot stuck in a perfectly foot-sized hole, didn't you?
Yeah, it's like that big. We got stuck there, and it's like, well, I'm gonna die again. And yep, sure enough, Raptor came over and ate me. Then not too long right after that, I got stuck again in another part of the map. Before that, Rom Girl was stuck. She had me come and kill her, and then I got stuck in the spot where she was killed. Uh,
What you're
so,
saying is make sure to have something on you to kill yourself with at all times.
yeah, pretty much. But the other times I've got on, no issues so far. And Ram and I have found a really, really pretty place. The map is beautiful,
Yeah.
at the very least. It is a gorgeous map to look at. What have you thought of it so far?
Yeah, I've been enjoying it. I mean, I've been staying in that northern area, so I'm looking forward to exploring a bit
King of the North.
further afield. Yeah, gotta set up, build our wall, etc.
Does it get
But
cold
yeah,
enough up
True
there to
north.
cause damage? Or is it still
only if you go up the mountain a bit. We're at the base of the mountain, so it's not too bad.
okay? And I believe we're much closer now to you because we used to be on the entire other side of the map, but now
Yeah.
we're within flying distance of you, where it's not going to take the entire day for you to get there.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely need to do some flyovers of more of the map because I've just been hovering in that same biome area, just up into the mountains and down onto the beach, and that's pretty much it so far. But there's a good range of creatures in that area, so it's nice.
Ben, they added some new dinosaurs for this map as well.
Yeah.
I've run into a couple of them. One of them was pretty cute, and the other one was pretty a big one, very aggressive herbivore. Because Ark needs more aggressive dinosaurs.
Of course, of course. Oh, and if anybody does end up teleporting to one of the spawn points in the north, apparently I've managed to put my base accidentally on top of one of the spawn points. So DM me if you get stuck in our floor.
I think I was
Will
seeing
you
the
dig them
post
out?
come up that in Discord.
Yeah. I think we're gonna try to saddle the base one way or the other, but we built it, and then all of a sudden people are teleporting in and getting stuck on the floor. So it's kind of
That's you would think that one would be fixed by now by wild card, but
Well,
that's kind of a
most games you check if you can spawn there before you spawn the character in, and if you can't, you either put them on top or to the side a little bit.
No, not this game.
But it adds to the experience. Ark has a lot of unique features to it. I mean, maybe
It's
true.
You could argue that's a feature.
It's truly immersive because that's kind of how life works. Sometimes you spawn, in the floor, and that's okay.
Who needs to
You
be able
have
to walk?
You have a very interesting life.
I'm
For
sure I'd
another
want to be the one in
cast.
the floor. Yeah, we can hear the story of the man stuck in the floor.
And the man with respawns. That sounds interesting.
Talk about trauma.
So Fear the Night is still continuing. Do not worry if you're on that server right now. I know there's a few people that are still active on there, popping on there, even though we got Greg Tech New Horizons, which is kind of in the same exact genre as Fear the Night. It will continue to go on as long as there's players on there, and that's the Aura Fury promise that we've always run on. As long as there's somebody that's active on that server, we will keep those servers going forever, basically. So no worries about that server coming down as long as there's people playing on it. And if everyone's done, I'll message them, make sure they're done, and we'll put the world up for download like we do for everything else. So you will be all good on that. So in the poll results, we also saw quite a bit of popularity centered around 7 Days to Die. And 7 Days to Die is one of those servers that have been suggested multiple times up in the suggestions. We've done some polls for it in the past, and we were only getting like 4 or 5 votes. So we kind of sat there on the edge going, it's not really enough interest on it. But this time, there's definitely enough interest for it. So a 7 Days to Die server will be coming. It's in the future. If I were to take a stab at it, we're probably at least a month out because we just had all these other servers that just launched. So probably plan on either end of January into February as like the earliest, and at the latest probably end of February is what we're looking at. So for those of you who are pinging me and going, "Hey, Econ, is this coming?" There's your answer. It is coming, but it's a little ways off right now. We may move that up if because I'm going to message a few people that were in the polls voting for that and seeing what they're looking at, what servers they're on, to make sure that I'm not going to be pulling them off of servers when I launch that one, because we don't want servers kind of cannibalizing each other, and we want those all the servers to be successful for the time period that they're going. So we had a couple other servers in there that we got some results back on that weren't quite as popular as these other games that we were looking at. I know Ark's poll numbers were not super high, but for those who've been following what's been going on in Aura Fury, we were planning that anyways. So that was one that was going to be coming no matter what. Where the tough one's going to be is Eco, Starbound, and Factorio. So these three particular servers, they're going to probably get into the rotation. Coming in like January, February in there, we're looking at upgrades for our servers. And if the hardware can handle these servers on top of the other servers we run without causing issues, that goes for Empyrean too. Almost forgot about that one. We could look at them again at that point. We'll probably have to do another poll to see what interest it is, because we'll probably only pick one or two of those to decide on which one that we're going to go on. For Valheim, for that one, basically, I'm going to have to get in contact with some of the players that were doing it before. I noticed in the poll results that the people that did vote for it were not on the previous servers. So we're showing new interest in it, which was kind of cool to see. So a new Valheim world could be a possibility in the near future too. We'll have to do new poll on that as well to see when that's going to kind of land. It could end up landing around the same time as the 7 Days to Die. I know the Valheim players have been pretty consistent on being on there, and with the latest content updates that have come out with Valheim, the creators themselves recommend it going to a new world. So that's kind of one of the big reasons as we're going on there. And I know that the kind of the starter area that's been built as on the current server, because we do have a Valheim server going right now, it's kind of fallen into disarray because the players have been keeping it up. So when new players come on, it's very difficult for them to kind of get going on there, because the monsters are at such a high level and such around the spawn area now. So a fresh start's probably kind of where we want to go with that. So lots of exciting things going forward in the servers. Obviously, if you have suggestions for other servers, we have the suggestion channel, and we can get that into the next polls when we start looking at other servers. A lot of it's going to come down to, of course, interest and kind of the hardware we have available at the time to run those servers, because it is very, very important to us that when we run these servers, they're not super laggy and and run really well for you, so that's a fun experience for everyone. And we always try to place the service too in a place where we can make sure that people logging in from Europe too are not going to get as much lag. So any comments on those servers?
Just that I hope to see everyone, much like we were mentioning with the game nights and card games and board games and stuff, to, if you're just interested in those games or you own them at all, just to hop in. Maybe you haven't played the game in a while, maybe you haven't had as much interest in the game because of, you know, a group of people you were playing with, or just you didn't really have a group and you just lost interest, to hop in and just see what the Vintage Story crew is up to. Because like Econ was saying, if there's like starter areas for everybody, you can get your start a lot faster and get situated so you can start enjoying the game at that more regular level. I know I during the pandemic I bought like the deep part of the pandemic, I bought Valheim, and that was a really nice time waster. And the combat's really immersive in that game, and the new update's been really fun. And so I need to find my way into that server as well, aside from just the server I have with my personal friends, and then try to get them into the Aura Fury server as well, and just get a bunch of new people to kind of breathe some life back into the server. Because if you want a game to be interacted with more. Be the change you want to see. Get if you're not already in it, try to bring some more people in. If you're not in it but are unsure, but just are willing to give it a try, I recommend you do. Maybe just take that leap. Maybe you'll find a game you didn't know you like, or maybe you didn't like it before, but the group of people that you play with now changes that. So that's what I
Yeah.
recommend.
If the interest shows up in Valheim, even if it was tomorrow, like a whole bunch of people said, "Hey, actually, I want to play Valheim right now," we've already got the server, so it's just a matter of doing the world reset. It's quick click of the button, so no big deal. It's whenever the interest is there. I suppose it's probably time to move on to the elephant in the room, so to speak. The second Vintage Story server that got a ton of votes. Aledark and Plexus will be going over the news on that, as well as all the testing that's been going on.
All right. Do you want to start with the pterodactyl part, Alex?
Sure. Yeah, so we've been trying out running things through Pterodactyl recently. The Dilly has been a phenomenal help in that and been spearheading a lot of our efforts in that direction. And with that, it'll let us roll out servers faster and deploy servers to different processing clusters to make things run better. So if we find this one's actually, it was using a ton of processing, but now it's down to a steady lower rate because it's past launch, we can like move a few things onto that server more efficiently, use our resources, and then have like a server for like big launches and things. So it's really helping with that, and it's also going to be a lot better for some of our admins who have been currently jumping through, like 5 or 10 different systems to try to administrate all of our servers in different ways and things. And this will help standardize a lot of that and bring like a central way to like give people permissions to do various things with it, and give some of our admins some more control of things. So if a server needs a reboot, more people will be able to just kind of press that button. But yeah, so in that vein, we did some testing recently, running a new Vintage Story server in Pterodactyl on some equipment and seeing how it performed. And Aledark's going to talk about some of the results there and what we found.
Yeah, well, the DD again has developed like I'd say web. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like a web viewer that can
Grafana?
give, yeah, the Grafana that pulls out like the data from running a Vintage Story. Because in the past, I guess, year or so, what I've been doing, or other people, what we've been doing is going visually going through the log files and trying to determine like what was going on. It's sometimes it's to come up with what errors are going, the warnings, even activity, because we do have access to the Vintage Story, one of his API, that you see the total number of people online, but you don't have the historic of it for the specifically to the Aura Fury server. So he has pulled a bunch of metrics that are now that will be available to us once we upgrade to 1.16, and that's basically the one big part that we've been testing in different scenarios. So we've tested the 1.15.10, which we are currently running. Some of the pre-releases of 1.16, and we're trying to mimic like a server launch to see if the server itself could, I'm gonna put it, manage and deliver. So what we found out is, according to the metrics right now, I mean, at some point, if we have like 6 to 7 people exploring all in different direction from when a server launches, it's not able to keep up with the the chunks loading and everything, so it's more laggy. While on our current server, it's a much more mature server that has been launched since 11 August 2020. So people are more idle in their place building, and they're a bit less exploring. We've been in touch with the developers we have actually give out all the data that we have gathered, but the kind of it's a very small team, a very small team, so they need I guess when 1.16 stabilize, and whenever they can, they'll be able to I guess optimize those little parts of the game that needs that could benefit for more stuff. We found some plan Bs by pre-generating a bunch of chunks in advance to a server launch. And basically, just for a little drum roll, basically the second, correct me if I'm wrong, Ikong, but the next vintage survey will be a more of a what do you call it, like a launch that would be in a time frame for events more than a separate second server that will run along the other ones. So like for a race to steal, for instance, for like I don't know how long people are gonna take, but sometimes maybe a week, maybe 3 days for the best of them, depending on how much they play, depending on the rules we set. Is it a team effort or a single person effort that they have to make it over there? There was a parkour event, which is, I guess, I never played Minecraft, but I know it's from the videos I've seen, it's pretty popular. And we've had other suggestions as well, like a scavenger hunt that could go on there, or stuff like that. So I mean, what is gonna the good part about everything we mainly the deal he has done, and Plexus on the side and me on the other side of it, by coordinating like people coming in and trying to and doing the communication with Tyrone, is by having proper data to send them, instead of just saying it's lagging when there's more than 15 people on. Okay, but what is exactly lagging?
Yeah.
What's the issue and all that? And eventually more will come out of this when we have not when the developers have the luxury of having time to address those issues. So yeah, that's basically it. Did I cover everything, Colin? I'm like not sure. It's late for me, so I'm not sure if I got it all good.
Yeah, you hit it really well. The event server is going to stay up that we've been testing, and as Aledark was saying, we're going to have the race of steel and all that kind of stuff on there. What's nice about having all the events on this separate server is, as you know, on the main server, we don't allow creative mode. That is a survival only server. So every time that we run events on that server, we do everything in survival, even as the admins, admins on there. So when you see materials that are made available for you to be able to build something in that contest, we gathered them, or somebody else on the server gathered them. If there was something that was built for it, we all built that in survival. So there's quite a bit of effort in that. Just like the Winter Wonderland event that just happened, is still going right now currently as we're recording this. Aledark and Primentine spent quite a bit of time over there. Primentine helped gather a lot of resources, and then Aledark made the giant Christmas tree over there and planted tons of trees, cleared it out, made it really nice to get it ready for the competition. That was hours and hours and hours of work because it was done in survival. So now with the event server, we can kind of get around that and we can actually use creative mode to kind of make the parkour course, for instance, or make the scavenger hunt, and then we just run that server for the period of events and then move on to something else. And the test results gave us a lot of information, and then as Aledark was saying too, it's provided quite a bit of information for the game devs themselves, which is it's been awesome, and I'm sure they really appreciate it. So all those that were involved in coming onto the server and helping with that, and then of course all those that actually ran the tests and stuff. So thank you very much for helping out, because we've been able to make much better decisions going forward for the servers for all of you because of that. So as Aledark was saying, the second Vintage Story server is delayed kind of indefinitely at the moment. We were hoping to kind of get things going on that, but it's probably going to be a bit. Even if we were to get a much better server hardware-wise, we don't think it's going to really keep up with it. You could have a few
Yeah.
people, like 7, 8 people exploring. It's just going to be a very laggy launch, and it's going to be laggy like that for a while until everyone settles down and finds other places for the base, which that could be quite a while. Aura Fury is very popular when it comes to Vintage Story. I have no doubt that that server will be at 30 plus players pretty consistently for quite a while after a launch, because it will bring in a lot of new people into the community. It will bring back a lot of people that stopped playing in the community back into the game. And then of course there's players that are currently playing on the current server that would move over too. And
Yeah, looking at
yep, go ahead.
oh, sorry. I was gonna say, looking at the data from the tests, you could see on the cores that were being used and the memory being used, the server wasn't anywhere close to being maxed out, but it's some of the processes just can only be run on one core, and that limits what you can do. So
Or just one thread in certain aspects of the thing. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm pretty sure, with the, all the hardware, is constantly evolving. You're looking at what's AMD or Intel are coming up with in the next year or so. The number of cores and threads and instructions per clock gonna, it's gonna make sense to invest time in that kind of development, down the road for them. Just a matter of when and how, and
Yeah.
how it syncs it all too, because you
Mhm.
don't want to write something, spend a lot of time on it, and then get into desync issues. So
Yeah.
we're hoping for the best in the future.
Yeah, but I know that multi-threading stuff can get quite challenging because, I mean, inherently when you're trying to multi-thread something, you need there's dependency on previous calculations, and if it's happening on one core as opposed to another core, you can't guarantee that one core is going to finish the calculation that the other core would need to have that thing, which is why you have it on like one core sometimes or one thread. So I guess it'll kind of be up to the devs if they can figure out a way to get it so that they can multi-thread this everything. Yeah, hopefully they can. I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I think they'll make good progress on it. They've made some great strides forward in the game over the time that Aura Fury's been involved in it. And I know after some of the previous updates, they spent a lot of time on like optimization and things like that in between, instead of just jumping into the next content update like a lot of other developers will do to try to get, the extra cash right away. So it's been really awesome to see the Vintage Story devs do what they do for us as far as, optimization, bug fixes and things like that. And I hear that there's a good chance that coming up after the next content update, they'll be, and that gets all stable and everything, they'll be able to start working on some optimizations and bug fixes and things like that again before they move on to the next one, which would be awesome.
Yeah, though I really want to see some steam power stuff. And, and I
Yeah.
know that any time they take to do optimizations is going to further delay the steam powered stuff. So it's
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that stuff
hard.
too.
The community wants more content. The community wants more stability. The community wants more content. It's a ever going struggle.
Well,
I
maybe
feel for them.
you should vote for the QP Tech mod, and then we can vote on it, and then you can debate with the con if we should include it or not. That's
QPT
more.
Tech skips Steam
Yeah.
though.
Ah, you're right. Yeah, it's more generators and stuff like that.
Yep. Because it would be cool if we had like the Steam in between. You had to go through all the Steam, and then when you got through all the Steam age, you got into the early electric, then moved through electric, like Greg Tech. Hey, there's Greg Tech going on in Aura Fury right now. You know you want to play that Greg Tech.
I wish I had the time for it.
All right. So I believe the next part is
That would be if we're going off of the hidden document that doesn't exist according to the fan base, the viewers, the listeners. Would be me talking about potential casual tournaments and leagues within the community regarding Overwatch.
Take it
So,
away.
yeah, I'll go ahead and do all that. So I'm going to combine a little bit of what I'm supposed to be talking about here with some other information we have. So if you guys have been paying attention to the server these past couple months, Overwatch has been kind of blowing up. I mean, this is still obviously like a Vintage Story based server, and I think a lot of that like player base within Vintage Story and then games similar to it is important to keep, obviously if you want to like bridge that gap you can, but it is very much like a separated server for the most part, especially from like the Overwatch player bases, because like Vintage Story players, you guys are, probably more willing to hop in and play like, yeah, Overwatch, I probably own that game at some point. Let's hop into a game. Overwatch players like myself, I was like, what's Vintage Story? I didn't know what that was coming into the server. And then I got enlightened. And now I understand and respect the game for what it is. And it's a very interesting thing to me. But who knows if, other people put in the effort. But so you come into the server nowadays, or you've been in here and you're looking around and you're like, all these esports teams are showing up. All these people are playing Overwatch. Wednesday night Overwatch turned into Monday night and Wednesday night, and then Thursday night, Friday night. Just it's nightly Overwatch at this point within the server. And there's nights where we get like 20 people. There's nights where we get like 5 people, but it's it's relatively consistent that people show up. Maybe not as much around this coming week because it's the holidays and stuff, and maybe that way in the future, but pretty confident that we'll always have a group of people playing that game. So we got to thinking, we're like, all right, we have all these teams, we have all these players, might as well throw the idea out there about casual tournaments. And it was received the most it could have been within that poll. I think everything else got like, a decent amount of interaction, especially like Halo, which we'll get into later. But 24 people said that they won in. And that's the not count all the people that have joined literally since then, because there's been a ton of Overwatch players that have joined the server since this poll has ended. And there's a lot of teams that would be in the server that would go into that tournament, or they would go into that tournament and to some extent, maybe not as a team, maybe a couple players would team up with some of their more casual friends and they would make a squad together, and that kind of thing. It would truly express whatever team you want. It doesn't actually have to be the teams that got put into the server. And this goes for anyone who's not on a team too, especially those who are not on a team. I want people that want to try out like, hey, my group of friends are pretty good. Let's try taking this beyond like a comp or a quick play or a quick play classic or whatever game mode you prefer level, and try to run it into a tournament. And obviously, like I think majority of the tournament formats are going to favor like 6v6 competitive format. But if there's a draw for like 3v3 or deathmatch or something like that, I'm more than happy to run it for you guys. I have that kind of experience, and the playlist exists, and we can get that kind of stuff going. But a lot of this would go around like weekend or later in the week tournaments, depending on the schedule that most people want to do. And we have a lot of European players, so we really are going to have to hone in a schedule that works preferably for as many people as possible. And that's probably going to end up being something like a weekend where people have a longer amount of time to really dial in. It's like, okay, at this time on Saturday, I'm going to be able to come in and play with the people. And I want 2 players on my team from Germany. I want 1 player on my team from California. I want 1 player on my team from Ontario. So it's like you're going to have the freedom to pick the team that you want, hopefully not based on your time zones. if we format it in a way like that. So we're gonna try to keep you guys in mind. Talk to us as much as possible. Be very vocal about your desires when we start bringing these tournaments to you guys, and say like what you want us to do differently, what you want us to account for, because we only know as much as you're willing to tell us in response. We're very positive and willing to talk about feedback and cater to as many people as possible. But what also comes with that is if we can't literally please everyone, so be willing to hear that we've heard you and that we've decided to go a different direction because this doesn't align with the majority. And we'll try to be very transparent about that and what the majority says and wants from these kind of tournaments. Um, and also we can various times and different days. We want to tournament on Saturday that's late in the evening for like American players, and then early in the evening for German players, maybe, or European or Asian players on like Sundays and stuff like that. We can definitely, get multiple games going that are hopefully, moderated by at least a couple members of the community. And with that as well, we want to eventually, with as many esports teams as we have in here, get a league going with, of course, the people that are here, depending on the SR ranges that we want. They could be either intermingled or in separate tiers, and then bring in as many people as possible from outside the community in as well. And then if people in the community, just like with the casual tournaments, want to create a team to participate in these, I think this would be a really nice jumping off point, because we have some people in here, myself included, who have experience running leagues and are very receptive to new players and willing to help them out and get their team started and kind of help them manage the fledgling stages of being a team where there's a lot of confusion about what you're supposed to be doing. And we can kind of pave that path for you via these like tournaments and potential league that we're getting started up, so that everything's very easy. You have a very responsive team that's going to tell you, schedules. They're going to tell you rules. They're going to tell you kind of like as you need to know what part of the process you're in when it comes to joining a league, or as you're in the league, of what you need to be accountable for, or maybe your manager of your team or coach is responsible for, and just be very transparent about the whole thing. And at the end of the day, the goal of these is to have fun. So if people, are in these tournaments and you're not having as much fun as you think you could, talk to me, talk to Econ, talk to anybody who could be running it, and mention to us to say, hey, this part of the league isn't maybe as fun as it could be. Could you guys potentially in the next season or the next round of this cater to this type of player? And if we can't do that for that tournament, we can definitely start another one up with enough support to cater to those needs. So again, as much input as you're willing to give us, the better experience we can provide for you. And that's what we want. We want to provide an experience for the people in the server, because they've done a really good job of keeping the Overwatch, game alive. I mean, this is, years, coming into year 6 of this game's life cycle, and you guys are killing it in the server of making sure that we're still playing this game. Everyone's still having a good time, and we're not having a good time just because we're all buddies, but also because we're all putting in a level of effort into the game that's fun and addictive, and really goes back to that core of why Overwatch is fun for so many people, which is that team environment and those synergies that naturally come with the game. And I don't want to see that dip in the server at all. So if we can bring up these events to draw more people in, and newer players and people that don't have the community that we all have in Aura Fury yet, and then we bring them in, I think that'd be really cool and is a good goal for us as a community to potentially attain. So hopefully through these tournaments, we can get that going. We can talk more as a unit about what we expect and what we plan to offer from the tournament here on the cast a little bit, but we'll definitely go further in detail later. But I wanted to take this time to also mention the teams that are in the server, which is we have Invictus, which is a really cool team that I correct me if I'm wrong, is made up of European players. So that really goes and shows that we have a prominent European community following this game. So if you're a European player and you're unsure if there's people to play with, there are. Just shout them out. They'll be up at ungodly hours for me, but perfect hours for you. So there you go. Then you have Invictus, which is a more like homebrewed team within the server. A lot of like familiar faces are going to be on that kind of team. Or Leviathan, sorry, I just said Invictus. So Leviathans are the team of homebrewed players that like a lot of the mods and admins and just popular faces around the Overwatch side of the community are going to be on that team. It's a really fun team. And I think we already have some content that's been pumped out by both of those teams via in-house scrims. I don't know if that's attainable to the community yet, but we are planning to, when those teams clash to make it more of a publicized event, and you guys can root for your favorite players that you guys actually know to this extent, and it's all in good fun too. So we're trying to push more content out there. There's my team as well, which is Kairos, which is a little bit of a higher ELO team than the previously mentioned teams that's come in from our personal servers, and we've been in a variety of leagues. So if you have any questions about team management, coaching, player management, how to operate within a league, what leagues I recommend that are in here or outside of here, DM me, anyone on our team. We have a lot of experience. We hope to provide that more veteran presence in the community, so you guys are have someone to reach out to and can ask questions. And then we have a couple new teams to mention as well. We have two gold plat range teams coming in with Night Wings and Arctic Foxes. I mean, they're very active in the server so far. They have a hunger to get good as a team. They're all very fresh and new and wide eyed, which is nice to see. And hopefully, with the support network that we're building with all of these esports teams and coaches and people from inside the community that have that experience, we can push these teams out of that fledgling stage as soon as possible and get right into the league aspect and the scrims and getting a lot of wins under their belt. And then we have a team that we're kind of building that really doesn't, it can't be mentioned by name really yet. We're still building it up, but it's so if you're a diamond or masters ELO player on any role, I recommend DMing Econ or myself about that, or anyone that's the higher up in the Overwatch aspect of the community, and plan a tryout if you can, because they're in the trials phase right now. So if you're looking for a team, this is the time to start one up, whether you want to sign up for that team that's nor that Diamond Masters ELO, or you just have a couple friends that are in any ELO and you just want to ask us, it's like, hey, is there anyone else that that's looking for people? We have tons of people. We have tons of access to other servers, and we're willing to help you. But I'll pass it over to you guys if you want to touch on anything that I mentioned.
If you're from another community too, and you happen to be watching this podcast, if you are looking for a home for your team, we may be able to help you as well. You can talk to us, see if we've got the slot. As long as we've got the space open with the management, we match up. Your team can actually come in on Aura Fury, and we can actually help you out with the whole thing. A whole bunch of different things, from management to helping you find players, to helping out building your staff and all that kind of stuff. We even have people that are dedicated to one-on-one coaching to help your players one-on-one. So lots of cool things. So you get it. Yeah, like him. You can really help you out. So that's an opportunity. Of course, if you're in Aura Fury and you're looking for a team, please reach out. We'll get you tried out. Either we can get you onto an existing team, and if I have to, we'll build you one. So we'll bring people in. There are a lot of people out there that are looking for teams and looking for the camaraderie that you can get in Overwatch. So it's been relatively easy to bring more people in, and we're finding lots of people that fall in love with the community, and they end up making lots of good new friends. So it's kind of a win-win for everyone around there. One thing about Arctic Foxes that kind of splits it out from the other teams is it's more of a beer league team, casual. So a lot of us that have switched over to uh, doing all sorts of other things in the community and didn't have quite as much time to dedicate to the competitive aspects, because that is very time consuming. Getting better and learning from the game and all that kind of stuff. We switched over to that particular team. But all the other teams definitely in the community are very competitive. They're looking to get into the leagues, and they're looking to make those W's and keep improving. But they are really fun environments to get into. All great group of people on all the different teams. There isn't one particular team that stands out per se. They're all good people. So good opportunity to get in there and get involved with the teams and have some fun on the competitive aspects. And on the league front, we're going to be hammering that out here in the coming few weeks. So there's going to be a lot more details coming out on the league very, very soon, and hopefully the casual tournaments as well. Justin will be helping out on this. I'm sure King Reaper will be heavily involved in this, and I'm gonna grab Alex and bring him in for helping and all that kind of stuff, whether he knows it or not yet. So
We'll force it. He's a quick learner. We need that brain on all, as many tasks as we can get him. As long as he's still awake at the end of the day, we'll get him. Hop him in the call.
And if you are interested in helping out with developing the leagues, you got ideas for tournaments and stuff, please step up. We'll definitely find a place for you.
On that note, even when it comes to like a management of the league standpoint, we're trying to get as invested into the production aspect of this as well. I mentioned a little bit earlier where we're trying to pump out content for Invictus and Leviathans and as many teams as we can. If you have any casting experience, or you're just interested in casting or analyst work or production or any of the media aspects that can go along with Overwatch, we're really interested in giving you that starting platform. And getting your voice out there and casting these games or commenting these games, or when we get to a league standpoint and we want to like do things that are similar to this podcast where you have like on camera work, please reach out to us. We're working with a lot of talented people that have exposure with these kinds of things and are willing to help you grow as casters or as producers or whatever. And myself included, I'm willing to help you guys get into this role as quickly as possible, and so that you can get really into the meat and potatoes of operating cameras or getting your voice out there or just anything. So you have
Yeah.
a feeling that you want to get into this game and in that aspect. I mean, Alex down here is a
Mhm.
perfect example of someone who stepped up and was like, I want to learn how to do this, and now he's going to be I think for all intents and purposes the go-to guy for production. So and I'm also that kind of guy, and we have a couple other people like Sakuro, as many of you I'm sure know within the Overwatch circles, is getting interested in these kind of roles. And
Mhm.
there's always room for more because schedules happen, people get busy. If Plexus is producing 90% of the games, and then he wants to have a dang break, he deserves one. So having someone like me or Sakura or anyone else who's out there listening that wants in on that kind of exposure, we can get you in as much time as you want. If we don't have work for you, we'll make it. We'll put more streams out there, more recordings, and give you guys time to get in front of a camera or get behind a mic and really give yourself a platform that maybe you can use that as a springboard into other avenues in your life that you haven't explored yet. Because anything's a hobby or a career if you want it to be. So if you want to try your hand at it, please let us know. We'll find work for you. We'll find a role that works well for you within the capacity that you're willing to do. We won't force work on you if you don't have to, but we do want you to express yourselves in any way you can.
And I, for one, can vouch for Justin's teaching because my first time ever casting, and he taught me, or producing rather, running the cameras and things. He taught me, and then I was referred to as a senior production expert by other people. It's like I've done one cast with him yelling in my ear about all the mistakes I was making.
By the end of
Well,
that
it's
cast, it was starting to look good.
It's good though. Yeah, so definitely give it a shot, even if you've never done it before, because that was my first time. So
Yep,
Yeah.
that goes for all the casting roles, but also the on the management and coaching side on Overwatch too. If you want to get into learn how to manage on an Overwatch team, we'll gladly teach you how. If you want to get into like getting experiences coaching and stuff like that, I mean more ideas, the better really when it comes to these teams and helping everyone out. So we'll be glad to work with you. And that's a big part of what Aura Fury is kind of providing all those different opportunities for you to come in and learn something new, gain experience, and see if you really like something. And it could be a profession at some point that you chase in the future for some of these things too. Lots of different opportunities coming up out there. The gaming industry, for instance, if you add up like television, sports, and all the like number two, number three um, sales for entertainment industry does not add up to gaming. It gaming is just that much further than the rest of them, and the esports sector is growing pretty fast too. And I work in the academic side of things for my profession. I'm a professor, and I can tell you the amount of scholarship money that's being dedicated to esports and everything is going up very fast. And a lot of colleges and universities are developing programs to try to jump into this as fast as it can, including the college I teach at and the local universities here that are all looking at it. So lots of different opportunities going to be coming up, and lots of different
It's
things you can try out in Aura Fury.
Yeah, it's super wide too on that point of college and learning. Like there's, esports therapy is even a thing. It's like if you're even like beyond the scope of playing games, but just interacting with them, and that's something that's appealing to you. Anything can be made a career. There's like esports journalism, which I have a lot of friends in that field as well. And then there's just so many other aspects of the like traditional sports that collide with esports as well. So if you have experience in that and want to transfer that into a more electronic and internet based career or even just hobby, look into it. There's someone out there that has already pitched the idea and is willing to you know gush about their experience. So we'll gladly point you in the right direction if that's something you're interested in. But Plexus, I know I hinted at it earlier with the Halo Knights. I don't know if you wanted to jump in and give your synopsis on that.
Oh yeah. So uh as some of you may know, Halo's come out with the new Halo Infinite, which has a free multiplayer on PC at least, probably for console, maybe. I'm not sure.
I think so I think for Microsoft, so
Is it
console.
free on console as well?
I believe so. I think and it's
Okay,
cross
cool.
compatible, I believe as well.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a ripe new platform for doing some multiplayer online games and reliving some of the glorious Halo days. I used to play Halo a ton when I was a console gamer, and then was quite saddened when it never made its way to PC in a really usable format for quite a long while. But yeah, I'm quite excited about Halo Infinite. I've played some matches. It's been pretty fun. I know that some people had some issues with not being able to launch the game, various day one launch bugs and things. There's been a recent big patch. We're hoping that's maybe fixed it, but I need to hear from those people and see if it's actually done the trick. And then if it has, then we'll either do it as a game night or possibly it could be a regular thing as well.
Yeah, it's with the amount of votes and stuff we got into it, and then the players that we've seen interested in it are very active Aura Fury members. So I think it's pretty likely, at least for the time being, that we could get it like an actual just full-on Halo Infinite night once a week going.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to do a poll with the players here. That might even get that up here right after Christmas, and see what day everyone wants to do Halo Infinite.
And you
Something
can
I
do
want to
some
mention as
big
well.
team battles with that.
Yeah,
So we
That's
yeah,
could
what I,
get
yeah.
a lot of the community to just have a huge, crazy free-for-all battle or team battle or something.
yeah, that would be awesome.
I love that. I think something that there's a lot of crossover between like a lot of the first person shooter players that are in the server and then them getting into Halo Infinite when it dropped. And like you said, there's been obvious obstacles in the way. It's a early access game right now. There's tons of bugs that every time they patch one, two pop up, and of course they'll get there. They're Microsoft guys. They'll get there. But if you or anyone else in the server, anyone who's listening, same thing with Overwatch, want to start up a team, let us know. We could be there's no leagues out there in the Discord community that are like set up yet and have that like reputation that some of these Overwatch servers or say Siege servers have. We could really be ground floor with this kind of stuff. So if you are interested in that kind of thing and know a couple other people that maybe want to try that out, we could start and make a league of really anything. Like we do big team battle, like we said. Obviously, that's more maybe of a casual format that I love personally as someone who enjoys dying in the game of Halo. But maybe for a more competitive environment, just like those 5v5s or 4v4s with a certain map list, and we can talk about that as a community and get that going. But if you guys want to be on ground floor of making this community have a pretty popular Halo scene, and that's something you guys are interested in, we can talk about it. And we can start that process with the game nights, see the kind of reception we're getting, and then potentially push that into something more. And that goes for like, again, any really competitive game. If you guys want a league or some sort of casual tournament or more competitive tournament for a game, all you got to do is show us that there's people that'll show up and we'll show up. So we'll keep the lights on.
Yeah. And as
So
a
there
fun
will-
side thing, somewhere on the internet exists machinima made by me and a friend of mine in Halo a very long
Oh,
time
yeah?
ago. Yeah. Good
Oh,
luck
I'm looking
finding
for
it,
that
though.
after this. It'll be
I
right
would
up there.
have
It'll be
made
my
that.
favorite machinimas. It'll be like red versus blue,
Uh-huh.
your content, and then some Battlefield friends from way back in the day for anybody who knows that.
This is content I would have made at the age of like 13.
Oh,
So
perfect.
it is beautiful.
Unfiltered.
Uh-huh.
Oh my.
Raw younger Alex. Let's see how his brain worked. We'll get a sneak peek.
Was it mature content? Because we're gonna the.
Was it what content?
Maybe we can't
Was
show it,
it-
but we can go and
Yeah,
see it
we
on our
can.
own.
Is it showable? Were you mature back then when you created that? Is what
Oh,
I
I was
asked.
not mature, but it's
Okay.
it's Halo, so it's at least
It's a little
censored.
mature. Sure, there's violence involved.
Yeah, true.
Whatever
True.
Halo violence is.
It's well, yeah. There's violence because it's Halo, but it's whatever me and that friend of mine thought was fun at the time. So
Could be anything.
I think there was one video on camping being a legitimate strategy, and we just spent like the whole match killing hordes and hordes of people while camped in a little corridor.
I see. All right.
Things like that.
Sure.
I still don't know why they didn't just toss grenades in there in an effective manner, but it's funny.
You're asking questions of the Halo fan base from years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're gonna get an answer. I think the answer is gonna be no one was thinking. They just wanted to run in and get kills as
Uh-huh,
fast as
uh-huh.
possible. Get to the warthog, book it.
So
All right.
we also had some poll results on the classic Halo, but we only got about 7 votes for that. We could have done some stuff with like the Master Chief Edition games since that's been out for a bit now, and that gives you access to all the old games that like the one that Alex was literally just referencing. So we can play that on PC now, and that would be fun. But that's probably something that we could probably work in to the Halo Nights at some point. The first Halo Nights are definitely going to just be straight infinite because that's what's popular right now. That's what everyone wants to do. But once we get to the point where it's like, okay, time for some variety, we can do a switch it up and have some Halo Master Chief kind of make its way in there at some point. And Rainbow Six Siege got 9 votes. It hasn't been a super active channel as of recently. It's still popping up here and there. People are playing it, and of course, it's still one of the games that players in Northern Fury enjoy. So if it gets worked into anything, it's going to be into that rotating game night that Wiggles does. If folks start looking for more Rainbow Six again, that obviously that can change in the future. But for now, it'd kind of be rotating in there with Command and Conquer, Rise of Nations, Among Us, Gartic Phone here soon, and Dead by Daylight and all those. So it'll fall right in there with those particular games. But that should be a lot of fun. And that pretty much wraps up the poll results. For all of you that voted in this poll, this was definitely one of our most active polls we have ever run. I, as well as the admin crew altogether of Aura Fury, really appreciate it. Oftentimes, we have to kind of close our eyes and throw darts to try to do decisions to try to figure out what people want, and it was super nice to have a bunch of feedback to kind of go off of on these polls to bring you what you want to see in Aura Fury, and allow Aura Fury to kind of grow and keep getting better and better and better. So is there anything else anyone wanted to add it? Yeah, Justin?
Yeah. I about to say I was wondering if feels like we covered a lot of stuff today to nauseum. I think in the future, for anyone who's made it this far, first of all, thanks. But
You're a
but
trooper.
oh, for sure. You guys have really stuck
We're
through
proud
it.
of you.
Yeah. I think from now on, I think today it was a lot of like community wrap up, and we're trying to get as much information at you as fast as possible about as many topics. I think from now on, a lot of these podcasts are going to be more centered on one or two topics instead of this rapid machine gun fire that we're on right now. And you'll get maybe a little deeper dive into how we feel about a new game or a new mod or something going on within the community or a game. So if there's any topics you guys want us to talk about, please let us know. We potentially could open up a channel, even if it draws that much attention, and we can get the information that you guys want us to talk about and get our opinions on out to you, the people. So let us know. We'll try to get some content creators on here, like we were mentioning earlier. Get a regularly rotating cast of people in and out of here, so you don't just have to look at us. Hopefully, you get some people with a little bit more charisma. But we'll
You've got highlights in your hair. You're way too charismatic. I'm kidding with you.
I try to look it. I
Yeah.
try to fool people.
That's why my camera is off.
Yay! There it is.
The troll from the internet, you know.
Heck yeah. But no, I had a lot of fun. I think you guys all did too, from our general vibe. But yeah, I want to do this as much as possible, and I hope everyone liked it. Gosh, I really would appreciate if people, gave us feedback and said, "You guys suck. Don't do that anymore," or "Oh, this is cool." So, but if not, whatever. I'm just glad anyone who's still hearing this is able to enjoy it and get what they needed from it.
Oh, and content creators, we need your videos and clips. And there's a whole new section that we posted up in the Discord. We're going to be having a section where we kind of talk about a clip or a video going forward. So that will be a little section of our podcast every time we do it. So it's free publicity for you. So get those clips and those videos and stuff in there as suggestions, so we can go and take a look and get them into the podcast and talk about your wonderful content.
Definitely. Yeah.
Awesome.
Before we wrap up, buy or free merch.
There's the shameless plug.
I was sipping from it the whole time, had no spills. It will happen every time with you. That's a me guarantee. You will never spill a cup if it's in, or if you're, and if you do, my guarantee to you is that you made a mistake and there's nothing we can do. But we gave you the tools. Gosh darn it. Shout out to the people who won the giveaway though, and hopefully they enjoy the products as much as I have. So.
All right. Thank you so much.
And there's one last plug. There's the Patreon as well. If you
make sure to like, subscribe,
oh gosh,
hit that bell notification.
Yeah.
So you get notified every time our videos go live.
Follow, etc.
You better smash that MF and like button. Get part of the notification squad. Everyone who's cool is.
Hashtag it, retweet it. What are some of the other platforms?
Bring MySpace back. Make a page about it. Who cares? It's your social.
get back on
Tweet us, share us on Facebook.
Yeah.
Tell us about us on the Discord page too.
It's
Come on
gonna be
in.
downloadable on LimeWire.
Yeah. Yelp
Napster,
review. Give us a 5-star review.
BitTorrent. It's all there.
Or one if it makes you feel better.
Yeah.
GeoCities and Alta Vista are trendy right now, so make sure to comment us on there as well. Are you guys? Did you guys know about this, or am I the old one?
Not me.
You got me.
Okay.
Do it because Aledark said so.
Yeah.
It's
Good luck finding it.
Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope to see you again in some of the next episodes.